did not get selected. Hey! Okay, so for how anxious I was about this whole process, it was surprisingly interesting and not nearly as terrifying as I thought it would be, which, surprise, surprise, is how 80% of the things you worry about turn out, according to my therapist. Although, of course, I wasn't selected, so who knows how terrifying it would be if I had been, but I wasn't. I'm gonna walk you through the process because honestly, I didn't feel like the instructional video told me the things that I wanted to know, so you know, I'm gonna help you out. I got there early because I was scared, but this paid off in a couple of ways. Number one, I got a super good parking spot in the free area, and it was great. Number two, I was selected for the first trial out of 3, which ultimately meant that I was released before the other people. I think the parking lot was still full. I don't really know how the other 2 trials went, but again, I got to leave early because I was not selected. And also number 3, I had dibs on the coffee, which wasn't great, but like, it was coffee and it was caffeinated and it was free. So, and I got a good seat in the room where you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait. Okay, second thing that I wish I had known. There are metal detectors when you first come in. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that. I probably should have, but wasn't a big deal. Since I was there right when it opened, there was a bit of a line. If you've been through airport security, it's not even that bad. Okay, so then you get to the little jury assembly room, if your courthouse is anything like mine, which I have no idea. I don't even know how it works in other states. I know it's roughly the same because, you know, America, but also states' rights, America. But yeah, so you get to the room. You have to fill out this little questionnaire, which was super easy and not stressful at all. It's just like, where do you live, what's your phone number, and what's your name, and you had to sign it, and your age, and if you're married, and I knew it. I knew the answers. And then you wait again for a long time. And then they call your name if you're selected to actually go into the courtroom to be grilled by the lawyers, which is what I will get to next. But they call your name, and you give your little questionnaire to the jury assistant, and it's got lots of little carbon copies that they hand out to lots of different people so they can know all your things. The defense and the prosecution, you know, all the people that need to know whether or not you're going to give an unbiased, fair listen to the case. I'm not going to leave those pauses in, but just know that there were a lot of pauses in between those words. I'm tired. They will probably pronounce your name wrong. The lady didn't even try to pronounce my name, bless her. Then you wait more. And then they finally call your name again after they've selected all of the different prospective jurors for the different trials, cases that they have. Hey, don't you dare bite me. Can you call him?
Yo, come murder me.
He's coming. Those were the key words. Finally, you're called forward and given a number, and you go into the courtroom for the scary part. You squeeze together with all of the prospective jurors for that case, and everyone is given a number, and you line up and sit down in order, and it's all very dehumanizing, and they pretend like it's not dehumanizing, and they tell you, sorry that it's dehumanizing, but we really do think of you as people, and that's fine. And then all of the lawyers and defense attorneys or what have you ask you questions, trying to suss out if you have any biases, or basically just if you have any biases, and if you can listen to things clearly. So you have to like hold your little number and answer all of the questions, and sometimes lots and lots of them. Hey! He bit me!
Where is he? I'm gonna take him in there and shut the door.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. Nothing bad's about to happen. Yeah.
Be a good kitten.
He doesn't know how.
Be the good kitten you know how to be. Thank you! So like a lot of people probably will answer these questions, and then everybody will have to go through the same answers, but it's important and it's fine. And some people will say legitimately sketchy things, and you will just sit there and it'll be fine. And then sometimes you'll have to answer. I answered one question, and it was terrifying, and my heart was racing in front of, you know, 60 people and a judge and her staff and all of the lawyers and such. But it was fine because no one is a polished speaker. That is one thing that I enjoyed about the whole process. No one really knew what was going on. None of the prospective jurors. All of the staff knew what was going on. No one else really knew what was going on. We were all in the same boat. It was all fine. No one was like How come you don't know what's happening here? Because everybody was in the same boat. That was kind of, you know, freeing and nice. I don't know. I feel like most places I go, people seem to know what they're doing more than I do, and this was a level playing field. It was kind of okay. We broke for lunch at that point because the questions took forever. I thought, mayhaps, that if I wasn't selected, I wouldn't have to be there all day, but I was there till 4, which, you know, it's fine. I had lunch with an adorable older lady. I was very surprised that people were really nice, and maybe that's just a Midwestern thing, but genuinely everybody I talked to was super nice and just like, ha ha ha, ha, we're here doing this thing that we don't want to do, ha 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 ha, it's important, but we don't want to be here. It's great. Then after both sides have asked you all of the questions they want to ask you to decide whether or not they want to not have you on their jury, you wait for them to decide with the judge who the jurors will be. You wait a lot. Then y'all file back in and you squeeze together and not your spots, which is something, the only time that I embarrassed myself, I went immediately back to the spot that I'd been sitting for the hours of questions, and the women sitting there were like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, we don't have to, oh, sorry, and then I just like made myself scarce. It was fine. So then they fill up the jury, and like there were 60 other people, prospective jurors, and like I guess I hadn't fully grasped how small of a percentage of jurors summoned actually get selected. And this is just experiential, as I've said, is everything else. But it seems like, and I've heard from other people, that if you have a higher number in that process of voir dire, look it up. You're less likely, if you have a higher number, to be chosen, because they seemed to select from one and then just eliminate a couple people that they were like, I'm not sure if you can actually see this unbiasedly. That was the word. And by the end of it, I would not have been upset if I was chosen. Like, granted, there were other things I would have rather have been doing with my time, but it was interesting. I guess I didn't expect it to actually be interesting. Like, getting such a random pool of American adults together, like a truly random pool, and hearing like their life stories and like the worst things that they've been through in some instances was really cool. And it, like the informational video they showed, it really did give me an appreciation for the judicial process. And like I was saying yesterday, like really realizing the privilege and responsibility of a right to a trial by a jury of your peers is so important. And I knew that in my brain, on paper, in my brain, but it was, you know, scary. But it was fine. So basically, all of that to say, you do not have to be an anxious wreck like I was an anxious wreck. It's fine. I got like $6 out of it. It's exhausting, but you can handle it because you're a beautiful caticorn, just like me, who didn't get selected. I'm a little offended actually, like they genuinely skipped over my number, like they specifically did not select me to be the jury. Like what's up with that?